today I'm going to give you an update on how I'm doing so far with my 2020 reading goals. Some of my goals I am right on track. Some of my goals I'm actually way ahead of the game. And some of my goals I am failing completely. I mean, like absolute utter failure. So let's dive in and try to see what I've been doing with these goals. This is gonna be terrible. I feel like any video that's talking about 2020 goals is just like, come on guys, 2020 is just a big disaster anyway. So what are we doing even having goals anyway, right? Thankfully though, whenever disaster strikes, I turn to reading to, give me some solace and some comfort and to take my mind off of my troubles. And so actually having reading goals in 2020 is working out pretty well. One of my main goals for 2020 was to read 12 classics. I am right on track, having read 7 classics so far in 2020. Actually, technically, if you count the Anne of Green Gables series, then I've read a lot more classics than that. I've read like 13 classics or something. But I'm not really counting the Anne of Green Gables books because I'm reading those for another goal. So they don't really count towards this goal, I guess. I don't know. Am I merging my goals here? I don't know. So far, I have read The Odd Women. And I read this as part of the Odd Along or the Odd Women Along or whatever. It was a read along that Katie over at Books and Things hosted, and I'm so glad that I read it along with everyone. It was an amazing book, and there was so much to unpack and talk about and dive into, so that was a wonderful experience. I also reread an old favorite classic by Louisa May Alcott, Under the Lilacs, and this was definitely a comfort read. I've read it many times before. It's a very sweet and wholesome story. I love to reread Louisa May Alcott whenever a crisis hits. I also read The Last of the Mohicans, and it was very violent and the plot was kind of repetitive and I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but I did like the writing style and I am glad that I read it. I also read Madame Bovary, which is all about this woman who cheats on her husband and gets away with it. And I hated it from start to finish. I hated the writing style, I hated every single character. It was just not my cup of tea. The next two I'm not really sure if they count as classics. I guess they're sort of modern classics that are written more in a classics style, but they're 2 books from the Scarlet Pimpernel series, Mademoiselle Guillotine and A Child of the Revolution. I loved both of these, and well, this one actually counts towards my series goal, so I don't know if I should count this towards my classics goal. Man, I am all confused about what counts for which goal. I don't know anymore, okay? Both of these are amazing adventure stories set in the French Revolution. I love the Scarlet Pimpernel books. And for Jane Austen July, I also read Mansfield Park. This is my second time reading this one. The last time I read it was back in the year 2000. And so this second reread, I actually really enjoyed it so much more than the first time I read it. And so I'm so glad that I put that in. And then if you want to count the Anne books that I've read so far towards the classics goal, I also read Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, let's see, Anne of When the Poplars, Anne's House of Dreams, and I'm currently reading Anne of Ingleside. So if you want to count those in, then I guess that counts. My next goal for 2020 was throughout the year to read 50 of my Get Rid of It books. These are books that I just picked up for 50 cents or $1, and I'm not really sure if I'm still interested in reading it. So I've been doing like try a chapter with these to see, do I even want to continue reading it or not? So far this year, I have only done 5 of those. I think though one of my other Get Rid of It ones, I just kind of read it on its own. So I think it's maybe 6 books out of the 50 that I wanted to do this year. I've only read 6. Total failure. I mean, if I wanted to read 50 of those, I need to be reading 1 every week. I should be halfway through that goal right now. I should have already read 25 of them, and I've only read 5. I am way behind on this goal. I'm hoping that I can get caught up though. I'm hoping that some of this momentum, this reading momentum will get going in the second half of the year. Maybe I can get caught up on that goal, but I am so far behind. I don't know if that's really gonna happen. The next goal that I set for myself was to read 8 series this year, and I am right on track with this goal, having already completed 5 of the 8 series that I set for myself to finish. So the 8 series that I want to finish in 2020 are Dragon and Thief, which I have not even started yet, Dragon Keeper, which I also have not started yet, the Mary Poppins series, which I finished, and they were delightful. Every single book in the Mary Poppins series is just so silly and fun. I finished the Scarlet Pimpernel series by reading, as I already told you, for the classics, Mamselle Guillotine and Child of the Revolution, so I'm all finished with every Scarlet Pimpernel book, and I love every single one. I also finished reading all of the Pippi Longstocking books. Now, there's 3 kind of main novels, and then there's like some little shorter stories and stuff. So I finished all of those other shorter kind of novellas or short stories of Pippi Longstocking. So now I've read all of those. I still have several books left in the 39 Steps or the Richard Hannay series, and I have not even read a single one of those yet this year. I did, however, finish the last book in the Earthsea series along with a couple of novellas and short stories. So I'm completely done with the Earthsea series, and I'm just, wow, what an amazing fantasy series. I just want to start again from book 1 and read them all again. That's how good they are. And I also finished reading the final and 7th book in the Septimus Heap series and really, really enjoyed it. It's just so imaginative and strange and magical. I loved the Septimus Heap series. So not too shabby for this goal. I still have quite a ways to go, but I have finished 5 of those 8 series. My next goal was to reread some favorites. I have been working on this goal, and I've been rereading through the Anne of Green Gables series, and I'm currently reading Anne of Ingleside. I'm sort of participating in the Anne along, but they kind of got one book ahead of me somewhere along the way. I ended up one book behind them. So I'm hoping to kind of catch up and be able to participate more with the group read along throughout the rest of the year. And then I also want to reread the Emily series by Ella Montgomery. That's probably my second favorite series of hers after the Anne books. And I haven't even started on Emily yet because I've been reading Anne. And then I also still need to reread The Lord of the Rings, and I haven't even started on that. And I still need to reread The Chronicles of Narnia, and I have not started on that. I think that I want to be in a place where I can really focus on these books because Lord of the Rings and Narnia are 2 of my favorite series of all time, like my 2 favorite authors ever. Like if you ask me, what's your favorite books? Those are at the top of the list. And so I feel like I don't want to have all this chaos in my life and quarantine and, you know, pandemics and stuff. I want to just be able to focus and enjoy it and just kind of dive into that world and not have any distractions. And that's why I haven't picked them up yet, and why I'm just not sure if 2020 is my year, maybe, to be rereading these. I'm such a mood reader, and so I feel like to be able to enjoy these the way I want to, I just don't know if 2020 is the year for this. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe the second half of 2020, things will get better. And the last goal that I set for myself for 2020 is, of course, the GoodReads challenge, which I do every year. This year, I set the same goal as last year, which was to read 200 books this year. So this goal got a little bit out of hand. At the time that I am filming this, I have actually read 279 books. We're barely halfway through the year, and I have already gone over my GoodReads goal to read 200 books by reading 279. Now, keep in mind, though, that 104 of those books are just children's picture books that publishers send me to review, and then I give those picture books to my nieces or to, you know, kids that I know. So they do count towards my reading goal, but, you know, they don't represent a big chunk of time, of reading time. So if you were to subtract the 104 picture books, I've actually read 175 books so far this year. I mean, that is still way ahead of being on track for this goal. So yeah, I guess, a global pandemic is good for my reading because I just end up reading a lot. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, how is your reading going? Do you find that when the world is in chaos, you actually read more because you're turning to books for comfort and distraction? And, books are amazing at any time, but especially when you're in a crisis. Let me know how your reading goals are going for this year. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.